Good evening. So let me just clear a few things up first. I don't know if you can see that. That is a cut. I'm fine. Run up a mountain, ran into a tree. Probably should, as my mum said, might need to look at getting some glasses. Thanks, Mum, but my vision is still 20/20. Just wasn't concentrating. You'll notice that I've brought my tea along. It's late here. I've just gotten back from camping, which is where this post came from. The quiet time of camping, and that previous post that I posted up. And the thing that came to me, I put that post up about the silent rooms that we struggle to provide balance, and there's been lots of cool psychological studies done about it. Probably not great for the people who are being studied, but some very cool insights into how we think and interact in the world. And it was something lingering there for me. And if you go back to some of my earlier videos, I talk about how I've been lucky enough to experience some pretty extreme human behaviour. And one of the things that always, you could probably say I was trusting. One of the things that really perplexed me about that extreme human behaviour was, and what made me susceptible to this particular behaviour, was that I had this real experience that they would say what I was thinking. Like, if they behaved in a particular way, and then they would say something that is exactly what I would have said in response to their behaviour. And it was such a peculiar behaviour. But I was, walking and hiking as you do, probably around the same time that I got this thing. And this thing really hit me, because when I discovered this extreme human behaviour, I went and did a lot of work on myself and to educate myself further about human behaviour. Because I felt that I've been immensely lucky to experience this sort of behaviour. Like a lot of psychologists and professionals would, for one of they would be jump at a chance to have experience with this, and I'd gotten it for free, just coming out of the blue. And what perplexed me was that the world, or when I was running or walking up that mountain, the world occurs to these people who project a huge amount, that the world is a reflection. Like, who they are, they project who they are out into the world. So the world to them is a reflection of themselves. It's like looking in a mirror, and every time they look outwards, they see themselves. And it's just it's quite an unusual behaviour. But when I went and did the work, and went and did a lot of, I've read philosophy, and I've done a lot of personal development courses, and I've read a lot about psychology. What I discovered is the people who've done a lot of work and have really started to understand how human beings behaved, they still saw the world as a reflection of them. It didn't change. It's just, when you've done a lot of the work, you get that putting your things on others doesn't really work. So, to put an example, or on the court, if I'm angry, I don't make it someone else's problem. But if I am angry, I'm probably only going to see things that are angry. If I have a particular context about a certain thing, I'm probably only going to see that. It doesn't change. That we all, and correct me if I'm wrong, like this is only my experience. The best I can explain is that we go around interacting with the world, no matter how extreme, whether it's really super extreme and from a psychological perspective, all the way down to people who've done a lot of work, and whether they're two ends of the spectrum, I can't really say, but we still consider the world a reflection of us. You'll call, some of the other people won't call it manifestation. The world's a reflection of us. What we have is a reflection of who we are. It's a phenomenally interesting correlation, and very common. A reflection of what, though? I don't think that, one of the famous, sayings is, "Can you prove you're conscious?" And the response to that is, "Can you?" A reflection of what? Like it's like, I guess the question is, a reflection of what? The world out here looks nothing like I look like on this screen. Do my thoughts, feelings, and opinions, are they a reflection of the world, or is that what I see? Is it the similar conversation I was having before? Is it your thoughts, self-referencing? In other words, you only see what you want to see. But who's you? Like we opened ourselves up. There's nothing inside that shows that we're a reflection. But why is this commonality between all human beings? It's a very perplexing question for myself. It's probably the first time that I've seen very solid correlation in behaviour. And I've yet to see any other option. But what makes us think that that the world is a reflection of us? Why does the projector project themselves outwards? Just like the manifestor. Now, there's some pretty cool science out there that says that it's all made up. Like, in other words, our entire perception of reality is completely manufactured by our own brains. It's just some kind of fantasy. And I've spoken about this previously. The brain does some great tricks to have us feel safe and not alarmed and not see our own faults. And we're very much wired that way. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work for the brain to literally manufacture this that we all see. The mirror test is a great example. When an animal looks at themselves in the mirror, and there's a famous one with a dot in the forehead, and certain animals actually recognise the dot, that they get that the world's a reflection of them. They're not just in the world. Because some of probably the less evolved, you could maybe say less evolved, that might not be the right word, but the less conscious beings, or at least obviously conscious to us, don't seem to think that the world's a reflection of them. They just seem to exist. They just seem to be hanging around. It's a very perplexing conversation, and really what it is for me is that, like, this out here is a reflection of something here. Goodness knows what that is. I mean, it's like we're unable to gaze and glimpse our own consciousness. I mean, I'm not saying that we can't work out what it is. We can't, that's why I'm doing this. I'm definitely out to create and discover what it takes to create general artificial intelligence. What's that thing within us that has us see ourselves as conscious beings to be able to relate and interact with other humans? It also ties into what I was speaking about previously with agreement reality or gaslighting. That out there is a reflection of who we are. Like, what's said is a reflection. We take it on board. As I might have described previously, I can't remember, I do a lot of lives, that people who gaslight use our imagination against us. It's fascinating, without us even realising they do. So it seems to be very common. Common as far as I can tell. I can't see any difference between any of us, really. So yeah, it's a very, very cool. I'm going to continue to look at this one too. Thanks for tuning in.